let's get into it. The good. So this is stuff that I think went well, that we can build on and can keep doing for now. So we had a part-time launch for SwiftBrief. It went pretty well. Overall, we had a newsletter feature from Ben's Bytes. We had an opportunity now coming up with a featured article or featured post on indie hackers, and just overall a lot of ripple effects that came from the launch, and then a bunch of top 10 aggregator websites, etc., picking up the launch. And yeah, it also contributed to our bottom line significantly. How those people are gonna continue to use the app is to be decided. Obviously, I'll reflect on that in a couple months, and then we can review and have a look at that as well. We have a finance app we're working on. If you don't know what I'm talking about with these projects, just go ahead and watch one of the weekly updates that I do every week. I go into a lot more detail on a more fine granular level what we're working on and what the challenges are and stuff like that. It's just a bit out of scope for this video, I would say, as that gets pretty lengthy if I would go into detail here. But yeah, go ahead and check that out. And we made solid progress there. We're working on the internal calculation engine, just expanding it and making it work for a recursive or circular reference scenario. So we have circular references within the app that need to be treated specifically differently than the rest. And it's been a bit of a pain to get that to work, but we're very, very close. So I'm really excited about that. And then we have a maid of honor speech generator, which we shipped our first version for. And we have actually had someone pay, even though we offered people to use it for free. In exchange for that feedback, one of the people decided to pay for it. It's not a significant amount. It's like 97 cents or something. So it's not full-on validation. But I think here the key in the validation aspect is that people are willing to pay for this solution because there's free versions of it. There is premium services that do the same thing, but obviously they're more expensive. So we'll have to see if this strikes a good balance between price and value. And that's what we're mainly working on with this project, right? So the bad, not everything is always good, right? So I think a lot of stuff you'll see online will be just the first slide, and the stuff that you won't see is going to be the second and the third slide. So I don't want to hide anything here. So from SwiftBrief, we need a lot more work on the product. I think the more people use it, the more it becomes obvious that there is some things we need to figure out. And we just need to make sure that we keep to the standards that we are setting for ourselves and for the product. So that will require some improvements, and that's going to be the focus for this month, the biggest focus on that SwiftBrief project. It's always hard to walk the line, I think, between like product and growth. So we could be just building product, and we would be heads down building the product, or we could do only product on launch and marketing, which would give us more customers. But if the product isn't there, it is a fine line to walk between having people churn and kind of shooting your shot, but also making sure that there is something viable there that you're selling and you're being able to monetize. So this is something we're not necessarily starting with, but I think we can get better at. So I put it here as bad. And then the last point is that we have more people now involved everywhere, which obviously comes with a lot of good things, but it also comes with a lot of communication overhead that, if you just work on things alone, pros and cons, it's always a trade-off. But it's getting to the size that I think we don't want it to be any bigger than that, where it's at now. So that is probably the kind of number of communication lines that we want to have. I'm not going to go over, but it's just been a challenge to adapt to this. And then the ugly. So I had a vacation. I went on a road trip to Sweden. Stockholm specifically, and I didn't necessarily want to work much. I am aware that we're in a stage where it's not possible not to do anything, so I will be checking in the morning and in the evening kind of on how everything is going, and just kind of seeing where I can help unblock other contributors and the team. And that has been more challenging, as I was just talking about. The number of people that are collaborating with us is getting more, so that becomes a harder challenge to balance this kind of unblocking versus yeah, being on vacation. So this myth, I think, of having a SaaS and then you can do whatever you want, I think it's definitely not the truth, at least right now for us. Obviously, it's not at a stage where we have automated and delegated most of the things that we could be delegating. In the beginning, it's just a bit more of a grind, and I think that is to be expected, and I think that's fine. But I think it could have been a better balance for me, and that's definitely something I need to improve, or rather, also just not do going forward. Because I think, especially for my girlfriend, it was quite annoying that I was working the whole time. She supports me, but at the same time, it's not something you want on your vacation, that you can't really do fun stuff because there's no time. And one other thing, which is like something I have as a habit, so I tend to obsess over the things that need to be done, and I can kind of shut it off, at least for sleep. So I get my decent sleep, 8 hours a day, and I don't sacrifice that part. But the minute I wake up, I will be very, very focused on what needs to get done, and it will kind of consume my day, so to speak. And it's a constant fight to push back and then prioritize other things over that. But it is something that, at least in the last month during vacation, etc., I was just struggling with more than, let's say, 2 months ago. And yeah, it's just something that's normal. It's something that, is okay, but it's something that needs to be kept in check as well, right? So it's not something where I can just let it run free, or will get out of hand, so to speak. All right, and so for August, big focus on SwiftBrief v2, which will include a lot of improvements in what kind of keywords we hand into the outline, and just a better clustering algorithm, etc., etc. So there's a lot of improvements that we're being able to make on the product side, because we have a new product collaborator whose name is Mo, who basically has built a lot of the algorithms that we're using within SwiftBrief, and a much better version of that, but for a manual process, which we're now productizing within SwiftBrief. So he joined to help us get that done, and I think we're on a really good way to get everything where it needs to be in order to scale to another kind of customer, and make it just much more useful and legit, what the kind of data that it pumps out. So I'm very excited for that. We're going to launch the Maid of Honor speech generator. We're soft launching it as we speak to the audience that Jen, our partner on this project, has built up. But we also want to launch it on Product Hunt or whatever other source we have. And we're also slowly going to work our way towards a more kind of PR-friendly product. So we want to build some things that are not necessarily part of the core value prop, but they have a higher chance of going viral, so to speak, or just being talked about, just because PR isn't always about what's the most useful. It's just what captures the most attention. So we have some ideas in the space of shenanigans, or whatever you want to call it, to make it more attractive and more easy to pitch to PR, which is an angle we're going to follow with this project as distribution mechanic or channel. And we obviously want to chip the engine for the calculation that I touched on in the first slide, I think. And then we have an Excel add-in, and Finlay is the finance tool. So just, if any of this sounds interesting to you, I would suggest that you subscribe, because I do these, not these monthly reviews, but I do weekly build and public updates every week. And there will be screenshots and pictures, and not just text. There will be the same rambling that I'm doing here, but it will more bearable with some screenshots in the background, right? So just do that. Go ahead and yeah, see you in the next one. All right, peace.